Okay, I'm Chef Julia Dunaway, and I'm ready to make something from somebody else's book. This time I'm making some jalapeno lime cream cheese from Healthy Living with Shayda, Healthy Cooking with Shayda, and Tami Kramer from Nutmeg Notebook. This is Shayda's recipe, but it's a collaboration ebook between both of them, between Tami and between Shayda. So this was her contribution and I printed it off so it would work for me that way. I'm going to get the comments enabled. First of all, let me check and make sure that we've got a little sound. Okay, it looks like the sound is working. So if anybody's on, I see one thumbs up. So we'll get started. And this recipe is really simple. I like simple, especially after doing all these cooking demos for the vegan health bundle. So that's what I've been up to. We have this bundle. It's over on Monday. So we're winding down. Thank goodness. It seems like it's been longer than, I think it's been like 8 days. Feels a lot longer because I've been doing live cooking demos every day, twice a day mostly. And, it's a lot. So I hope you're enjoying these demos. And today I've already done two. I started out the day and did one on travel soup, and then I did another one shortly after on the Korean noodle salad, japchae, and it was called Modern Japchae. And I hope you make it and you like it. So if you're here, let me know. Give me a comment and let me know that you can hear me okay. I think everything's all right, or usually somebody will say if it's not okay. And we're going to get started with this recipe. What I like about this is she in this ebook or cookbook, they included a lot of recipes for crackers, recipes for different dips, not just cream cheese, although the name of the book is Cream Cheese and Crackers. Hi, Nico. So, but it has other recipes for sweet things like sweet dips, also has guacamole, just a lot of variety of things, which I thought was good. And it's using some ingredients that I don't usually use, like chickpea miso. And it's funny because I had chickpea miso in my fridge, but I never opened it. And so I opened it for the first time. I thought, I need to use this. I've never used it. And I noticed it has less sodium than than regular miso. Like regular miso has a lot more sodium per tablespoon than this does. This has about 900, well, maybe it's not that much less. Okay, they can hear me just fine. That's good. And then it uses some pickled jalapeno peppers. I better open it. Let's see if I can open it. I should have done this before I came on camera. God, good thing I'm weightlifting. That was hard to open. Man. Fresh limes, and we're going to zest them. I have my zester. And then I'm using a salt substitute, this is from local spicery. It's called Salacious. And I've used that before, some fresh garlic. And then tofu. And this tofu is organic tofu and it's firm. And I've already got it pressed. So I drained it, I wrapped it. How I do mine is I wrap it in a paper towel first, because I don't want it to come in contact with my cloth, just in case the cloth smells like laundry detergent, although it usually doesn't. But I don't use these cloths for anything but wrapping tofu or for baking or cooking. They're just 100% cotton cooking. They're my cooking cloths. So that's all I use them for. Here's my drained and pressed tofu. I'm just going to set it here for now. I'm going to set these aside because we're going to make our pita chips first. Oh, and her jalapeno dip also uses cashews. Optional, she says. So I like the cashews. So we're going to use those. I'll drain them in a minute, and then we're going to do all that in the food processor. But I'm going to make the pita chips first. Okay, Nico is in Montreal. Okay, I'm only going to make two pitas worth of chips, because nobody's going to be eating this but me. And I sure don't need to eat more than that. In fact, I probably don't need that much, but that's how much I'm going to make. And I'll wrap this back up. There is Madonna. Hello there. I don't think I've seen you on too many of my videos. It's good to see you. I know you follow me and I recognize your name, so it's good to see your name on here. We have a bakery in Texas that makes this pita bread, and it's only made with 100% whole wheat flour and yeast and salt. So it's really nice because it doesn't have any oil in it, and that's hard to find. So I don't think they sell this everywhere. It's just a local thing. If you can find a local pita bread that's oil free, use that. If not, you have to make your own. I do have some recipes for it, and I taught a Mediterranean class. So I'm going to just cut them into wedges and get them in the oven. They're going to go at 350 for I'm going to take them out after 11 minutes because I don't want to overdo it. I can always put them back in, but once you leave them in too long, then you're kind of done. So better to check things at the minimum time than to leave them in too long. Okay, let's see. A lot of people are missing. Where are all my regular people? I guess they're taking a break. But I'll be back at 6 o'clock making pistachio energy balls. Maybe they'll come on then. Okay, here's the pita chips. And we'll put them in for 11 minutes. Okay, so they're in there. We can get rid of this cutting board. And now we're going to make the cream cheese. And I think this is actually a really good thing because whenever people come over, a lot of people enjoy having chips and dips and crackers and cheese and that kind of thing. So, plant-based options are limited. Like a lot of times I'll make a cashew cheese ball, and I have a really good recipe for cheese ball, and that's what I often make. But it's good to have something different. So I'm going to plug in my food processor. This is the Big Daddy. Hello, Terry. I'm using the Big Daddy food processor this time. This is my Vitamix food processor, and I hardly ever use it. I have to admit that I usually use my small, easy to maneuver one because I don't usually make anything that heavy duty, but I thought for today I would use this one just because I'm going to be putting cashews and other things. Gail is signing in late and listen as she's driving. Okay, great, Gail. Well, you can always watch it on replay. Okay, so I'm going to get some of the things ready because we're just going to put the cashews in. We'll go ahead and put those in, and we're just going to drain them. I have a handy little strainer. Yeah, I thought you were singing. I wondered about your singing in. I was waiting for you to start singing. Okay, that was the half a cup of cashews. Hi, Blue Bonnet 101. And then we can put our 14 to 16 ounces of tofu drained and pressed. And I'm just going to break it up into like 4 pieces. And my secret for pressing tofu, I was showing you, I wrap it in a cloth that I use just for tofu or bread or something. I don't use them. I don't use any fabric softener or anything with them, so they don't have any strange smells. And I set the wrapped tofu on top of it under this cutting board and heavy book. So that's how I press my tofu. And I know there are tofu presses out there, and I just don't ever use them because to me, it's just another gadget to get out. Hi, Lydia. Debbie Jo says, I hardly ever use my Big Daddy Vitamix. I need to practice using it more. Yeah, the more you use something, the more familiar you get. I have 1 garlic clove. This is a Jalapeno Lime Cream Cheese by Shayda from the Nutmeg Notebook and Shayda, Healthy Cooking with Shayda ebook called Cream Cheese and Crackers. It's in the bundle. And don't forget to get your bundle. It's winding down, a couple more days left. It ends on Monday. So those of you who aren't sure whether or not to get it and need to look at it, let me put the link in here. You can look at it, like you can follow my link, and then you can see it, and it shows you like a listing of all the bundle contents, and you can, it's a description and it'll tell you what's in it. So if you're not sure whether you want it because you don't know what's in it, look at that link. I tell you that I'll tell you that there is a lot of good stuff in there, and some of it would cost you a lot more. I'm going to put this garlic clove in here. I've got lime. Oh, here. Always zest before you juice, because once you start taking the outside, sometimes it's harder to zest it once you cut it up. It's hard to zest something that's been cut up. So I'm just going to, let me move you over a little bit so you can see me better. I'm going to zest it. This is my little microplane zester. And whenever you're zesting anything, only zest the very outside. If you get any deeper than just the surface, it gets very bitter. So rotate your lime or your lemon as you're zesting it, and just get that very top layer. Because I tell you, if you get below that and get into the white part, it's very, very bitter. And I'm not going to use, it says one teaspoon. I thought it said a tablespoon. I was thinking that's a lot. A teaspoon of lime zest is not too much. And this is one of those things where more is not better, okay? Sometimes people think, well, if a little lime zest is good, then a lot is better. Gail is looking forward to your Southern breakfast tomorrow. Great. And then the initials, CCM, just joined. Not sure how much I missed, but I will have to watch replay. You didn't miss anything. We just put cashews that have been soaked and drained. Hey, Toshi, come see me. Oh, there you are. Want to say hi? Toshi's back, and he came on his own. I didn't have to pull him over here. Look, everybody sees you. It's a rainy day, and he's bored because I didn't take him for a walk this morning. He's a good boy. He didn't get to go for his walk, so he has a lot of energy, and he's looking at me like wanting to know why we didn't go for our walk. And he wants to play fetch. He wants to do something. Okay, so don't overdo it. Lime zest, tofu, cashews, and garlic. That's all that's in here. And then it calls for 2 tablespoons of lime juice. So Susie says, hi, pup. I'm going to just eyeball it because I kind of know how much 2 tablespoons is. I think it's pretty much half of a lime for me. I don't want to get it too limey. That sweet boxer face. Yeah, boxers, there's just something about them. Okay, I think that's enough. That's enough lime juice for me. I am not a person who likes things very limey. That's just my thing. Okay, and then pickled jalapenos. 3 tablespoons. That's a lot. This is going to be very spicy. So when you see a recipe and it says 3 tablespoons of pickled jalapeno peppers, that's a clue that it's going to be a little bit on the spicy side. I'm going to put a pile here, and I'll see if that's about right. That looks about right. Let's measure it. Okay, 1, 2, not quite. A little bit more. And these are not candied. These are just pickled. And so it's going to have a lot of flavor. So these are just, I bought them in the regular grocery store. They just say gourmet pickled jalapeno peppers. And there's nothing much in there. Yeah, tomorrow morning I'm going to have the grits and my oat sausage that's already made. I'm not going to make that, but I will make the grits and greens. And that's going to be what I demo in the morning, just so you could see how to make grits. I bet this would be good as a side with the chili. Yeah, this would be good with the side of the chili. Debbie Jo says yum. And these jalapeno peppers are real soft, so they're not hard to cut up at all. So I'm going to stick those in here. I like to kind of spread them around. And then 2 tablespoons of the brine from the jar of jalapeno peppers. So I'm just going to pour it in here. 2, 1. Just can't get over these beautiful birds. They're very distracting because they're like right here at my window, and they're different colors come flying by. Okay, and then a tablespoon of, she has Benson's Table Tasty Salt Substitute. I don't have that, but I do have this Salacious, and I'm only going to use a teaspoon because it's kind of strong, and I don't want to overpower my food. This has a bunch of different ingredients in it. I don't know about Table Tasty, what's in it, but this is a local spicery Salacious salt substitute. And I've got some of their spices, and they're all pretty good. Okay, so I've got everything in here. And then, the 1 teaspoon low sodium chickpea miso. So I don't know if this is considered low sodium, but this is what I have. It's the brand that I have. There may be another brand, but I don't know. This is the one I have, so I'm going to use it. 2 teaspoons. And then it calls for 2 teaspoons of cilantro, which I did not get my cilantro out. Oh, wait. You're supposed to add the jalapenos and the cilantro after you blend it up. Oh, well, live and learn. I'll add some more. That's terrible. I messed up the recipe. I added the jalapeno peppers and I can't get them out. Don't tell Tami and Shayda, because they'll probably just roll their eyes and say, what an amateur. See, that's the problem when you make other people's recipes that you haven't made before. I'm sure it'll be fine. And then we can add more jalapeno peppers. I don't have any cilantro ready, so we're not going to have that. Okay, I'm going to put it in my Big Daddy food processor. Okay. Mm-hmm. And you always have to scrape down the sides. I'm sorry about the noise, but there's not much you can do when you have a recipe that uses a food processor. It's going to be noisy. And while it's processing the rest of the way, I'm going to go get my cilantro. So I'll have it. Ooh, guess what's ready? I think this is going to be really good. Let me get this out. Ooh, I think these are done. So I was worried about whether 11 minutes would be enough time, but look, it said 11 to 13 minutes. If it was longer than 11 minutes, these would have gotten kind of burnt. So that was a good amount of time. I'm going to just set them over here. I'm going to I'm going to turn the food processor back on, and I'm going to run and get my cilantro. You know, it doesn't give any kind of time frame for how long to process it. It just says, but I think it's good. It says to process to break down the tofu, stopping to scrape down the sides as needed. So I think that's good. It's pretty smooth. You know, it looks like it's all blended together really well. It's smooth. And you can kind of see the jalapenos, but I don't think it's a problem that I blended them all together. And then I'll just put the cilantro in now, and that'll give it that little green pop. I got to wash it though because I didn't have it prepared. So just give me a second. Toshi, did you come back? Did you come back to see us? What a good boy. Okay, so I'm going to let this cilantro dry out a little bit while I'm doing this last part because wet cilantro is not very appealing, is it? Hi, Kim. I saw you bought a couple of my courses. Thank you. Your name popped up in a notification. Tell me which courses you bought or what you got with your what you were buying, ebooks, courses, whatever it was. I sure appreciate it. And all of you, if you want classes in any kind of cuisine, you can look on my website and there's a bunch of different things. I don't have anything expensive. Everything is like $20 or $25. Um, People always tell me, oh, you should have a course, and I see people doing their $1,000 courses and I think, oh, I don't want to do that. I could, but I don't want to. It's not my thing. I just want to cook. Okay, so I got my cilantro. I'm trying to get some of the big stems out. This really smells good. Hey, Toshi, what are you looking at? He's looking out the window. This room is surrounded by windows, so he's down here on floor level. You can barely see. There's his head. And he's looking out the window, probably watching for squirrels and birds. That's something Cammie used to do a lot. She would come in here and look out the window while I was cooking. I sure miss her. She was just one of a kind. It's been so lonely here in the house with just one boxer. He wanders around all day. And they used to snuggle up. So that's the thing that's so sad, is because they don't have thick fur, so they tend to get cold. Kim said, I bought your breakfast ebook and the 50 recipes for 50 days. Great, thank you. Those are some of my classics. And I did find the cashew quinoa burgers that I make are in my 21-day challenge, my original 21-day challenge ebook. So I'll show it to you. That was driving me crazy because I knew I had it. So my original ebook was Chef Julia 21-day challenge, and I had a lot of stuff in here. And one of the things in here I had, this one isn't as well written as my current one. This was one of my early books, but there's a lot of good recipes in here. Okay, darn it. I saw it earlier. I'll find it. If you have any questions about anything, write them in the comments. Oh, here it is. Okay, so it has the cashew quinoa burger in this 21-day challenge book. And a lot of you already have this. So if you already have this ebook, Chef Julia 21-day challenge, that was my original How to Follow the 21-day challenge. And it has that really good cashew quinoa burger. I was looking at the 21-day challenge also. That's a classic, so highly recommend. Of course, I recommend all of them, but I have a personal connection to all my stuff. Probably nobody else does, but I do. Okay, then it has 2 tablespoons of chopped cilantro. So I've got my 2 tablespoons worth, and I'm going to chop it up on my cutting board. And then I'm going to put it in there as soon as I get it in the bowl. Okay, so I have a special bowl that I've set aside to put all this in. Let's see, where did I put it? I guess I'll put it in this bowl. So we'll get it out of the food processor, which is no easy thing, but I'm glad I use this food processor because it's so powerful. My other one is getting kind of old, and I don't think it's that powerful. It was in the bundle 2 years ago. Yes, Kim. So if you got the bundle a couple of years ago, you got that ebook. So yeah, just look. And if not, it's still for sale on my website, along with I think I have 8 other ebooks: Plant-Based Japanese, the 50 recipes in 50 days. I have a really good, I shouldn't call my stuff really good, but one of my all-time favorite ebooks is the breakfast. And that's even available as a cookbook. So you don't even have to get just an ebook. It comes in a whole cookbook. I have a dachshund, and he doesn't have much fur either, and he's so cuddly. Yeah, I think those dogs that have a little bit of fur are very cuddly. Angie says, I got my bundle today. It's loaded with so many great contributions. I'm so excited. I don't know where to start. I understand. Okay, I want to show you one more thing. So, in case you're interested, my plant-based breakfast favorites is available as a book on Amazon, and so is plant-based Japanese. So if you want a real book, those two are available as real books on Amazon. You can just Google it. And this breakfast one, that's where I have all the things like, my sausages and grits and a lot of things that are not. And also, I think it's in this 21-day challenge meal plan. But if you're interested, those are things I do have available that people are always getting, and I thank people for getting them. Uh, let's see, I need to add it to my books app. Great. You guys are wonderful. Thanks for following me. I'm around. I've been around for 5 years now, online mainly, but I was around before that. But for the past, it'll be 5 years in March that I started doing a lot of stuff online. And I'm still here and I'm still doing the same thing. So, sometimes people come up, you'll see these influencers, whatever you want to call them, and they'll show up and they'll be real active for a while. And then you don't see them again. They just kind of disappear. And, to me, I always think, well, who's still around? Who's still around doing the same thing? Because that means that it worked. Whatever they were doing is working well. I added the cilantro. If you're still around, it's working. If you disappeared after a few months, maybe not. Cinnamon rolls. Yes, the cinnamon rolls in my book, breakfast book, or wherever they're at, they are good. I don't make things like that except maybe during the holidays. Okay, so let's try this as a dip for a minute just to test it, see if it needs anything else. Crunch, sorry. That's really good. Now, personally, my addition, you guys might not like this, but I am not, if anything, I'm always going to be honest with you. Here's my kosher salt. I'm going to put a couple pinches in there. But you don't have to. It really didn't need it. It was fine without it, but that's just my personal taste. Just a little bit. And then I'll try the other side of the dip. Mmm, yum. Okay, that is really good. And it's supposed to get better when you cook it overnight. Or when you chill it overnight. Sorry, my mind is distracted. Okay, so Kim said, I found you through Rachel Detroit a few years ago. Yeah, that Rachel Detroit is a friend of mine, and she wasn't doing anything. And then I kind of helped her, kind of gave her the courage to get started. And then she did really well. She did a lot of stuff in the plant-based space. And then she switched over to eating like an omnivore diet. And she started, kind of combining everything else, not just plants. And so she kind of dropped off my radar because she wasn't doing the same thing. So I haven't really been in touch with her that much. And I think she's back to a plant-based lifestyle again. Debbie says, my husband is a sad eater, so I usually have to add a little salt to my recipes. Yeah, my husband will add more salt to everything. I just put a tiny bit and it's fine. Okay, so I'm putting this in a clean bowl. Remember how I always tell you that, don't serve your food in the bowl that you cooked in, because a lot of times it will be real messy. So whenever you present it nice and clean in another bowl. The pickled jalapenos don't really have a strong taste. It's kind of nice. They're mild. You can taste them, but they're not too strong. It's not overwhelming. It has a really good taste. Somebody asked me, They don't use nuts. What can be used to add creaminess and flavor besides the cashews? Well, the common substitute is always white beans. I'm going to put some jalapeno peppers in the middle, and that shows that it's a spicy dip. And then I'm going to put a little lime zest on the top, just because that kind of looks pretty, doesn't it? Just lightly. I don't want it in any kind of mountains or anything. So just a light dusting of lime zest, and then the jalapeno peppers. And then getting kind of messy here. So yeah, try white beans. And you know, her recipe is optional. The cashews are optional. So I think what Shayda was saying is even without adding cashews, just using tofu alone would be good. That looks great. I would want to put it on a baked potato. Yes, this would actually be good on everything. If you made this recipe again, would you blend the jalapenos? I would probably put them in later because I think they would look better because you would see chunks of them, but it really didn't hurt anything. I don't think it made that much difference, to tell you the truth. So, you know, if I made that mistake again, it wouldn't bother me. So I'm laying out all my pita chips in a nice big stack. And there's going to be plenty of this dip. And I think you guys are right. I think that I could use it with my chili. I still have chili left from the other day. I could use it with, put it on my toast. I think this would be good on my sourdough toast because I have some frozen sourdough bread that I've made. So I think this would be good on my sourdough toast. It would be good on a baked potato, really good on a baked potato. It would be good with the chili. Can you guys think of anything else? Kim said she's dropped off mine too since she switched to omnivore. Yeah, you know, it's kind of hard to watch for me. Oh, Shayda's on here. Shayda said, thank you, Julia, for making it. Just FYI, the flavor does change the next day. Okay, what happens to the flavor the next day, Shayda? That is so cool. Shayda Soleimani is the creator of this recipe. And I met her on the cruise at Tahiti, and she was there, and I recognized her. I don't think she recognized me. So I went up to her one day and I said, are you Shayda? And she said, yeah. And I said, oh, I've seen you on Chef AJ's show and other shows. And, you know, I always enjoy listening to you talk. So we got to talking about stuff. And I told her, I said, I'm going to make something out of your cream cheese ebook. Tell me what to make. And she said, make the jalapeno cream cheese. And so I did. And I'm glad I did because it's really good. Jalapeno lime cream cheese. Well, I can't imagine it tasting any better than this because the flavor right now is incredible. I love it. I think it's the combination of the lime and the heat. And then that chickpea miso, I think that's the thing that adds a little bit of the saltiness. Oh, put it in a lettuce cup. Yeah, that would be good. I like the idea of, but I love the chickpea miso. I'm going to use that chickpea miso in something else. I don't know what, but I'm going to use it on something. Kim says, I have jalapeno lime crema recipe we enjoy in Mexican bowls. Yeah, that would be good. Like on your beans and rice plate, a little dollop of this. So I wonder, Debbie says, I'm wondering about your omelet, if this dip would be good on that. Sure, yeah, just a small amount. That would be good. So Shayda, if you're still on here, can you freeze this dip? Would it freeze or would it separate in the freezer? Because my cashew cheese that I make a cashew cheese ball, I can put it in the freezer and leave it in there for maybe, you know, a few weeks and it's still good. After that, it starts getting kind of weird textured. So I wonder about that. Sam says, adding it to the wraps. Okay, sure. Yeah, if you make wraps from whatever, the raw wraps like Lissa's, her dehydrated wraps that are made out of sweet potatoes and vegetables, you can add it to something like that, to a wrap. Or if you make wraps from pita bread, like I could make wraps with this whole wheat oil-free pita bread, and I could put, you know, lettuce, tomatoes, avocados, onions, bell peppers, tofu, baked tofu, like the baked tofu I made this morning for the salad. I could put all that in here, a little bit of this, wrap it up, and it would be delicious. What I like about this kind of thing is, and it makes quite a bit, so just be aware it makes a huge serving. This is something I would probably make when people are coming over because, whoops, my husband doesn't eat this kind of stuff too often, so chances are he would not eat this up. Okay, he might eat it once, but he's more likely to get something out of the refrigerator like real cheese because that's just him. Okay, so you can see it here along with the recipe. So, what if you're having people over, and this is kind of skimpy looking, there's nothing on here but the dip and the chips. But what I would usually do is what I would normally do is if I'm having people over, I make like some kind of charcuterie board type of a thing like this. And I would put some, what are you doing? I would put some carrot sticks, cucumber slices. I might add an additional thing like a hummus, a little homemade hummus. And I think she's got hummus in this ebook as well. Maybe some 2 or 3 kinds of dips, maybe. And then I put my home canned pickles out. So I'll put some of my own canned pickles that I make every year. I'll sometimes get gourmet olives at the grocery store. I don't eat too many olives, but I might eat 1 or 2. And the guests like to eat olives. So I'll put lots of different vegetables and then some kind of cheese dip. So usually I would make my own cashew cheese ball. But this is a nice alternative to using cashews because the recipe does not require cashews. You can make it with just tofu, which is good. Then you don't have to add the nuts to it. So I really think it's a good, delicious dip, and I recommend it. I think you'll be very happy if you make it. And I think that ebook was full of really good recipes. I didn't have time to go through it, very itemized, but from my glancing through it, it looked pretty good. Here's a link to the bundle, and it's just one of the 83 pieces of content in the bundle. Lynn says, I appreciate you doing these videos for us. I like the tips that you share and suggested modifications. Thank you. That's one thing I like about cooking, and I enjoy doing demonstrations is because, I can always talk about things you can do or just even cooking techniques because, you might not be the most familiar. Hi, Terry Moses. You might not be that familiar with things like, you know, microplane zesters and different kinds of salt substitutes or kinds of miso or whatever. And so it's good to be able to share what those products look like and how you can use them in their cooking. Debbie Jo says, I'm going to try that dip for sure. Thanks for making it. Susie says, thank you, Chef Julie. I've enjoyed watching your videos. Well, good. I'm so glad. I'm doing one at 6 o'clock. It's on the pistachio energy balls. If I had to make something to give as a gift, I would make these because everybody that's ever tried them loves them. So whenever I have them out or bring them somewhere and give them to somebody, they'll always say, what is that? That's really good. What is that? And I'll tell them it's pistachios and oats and whatever. And they're always like, oh, I could eat a dozen of those. So, that's the only bad thing about them is if you want to eat more than 1 or 2, but I make them small and I put them in a special container and put them in the freezer like everything else and kind of ration them out. My poor husband, he's cracking me up. I gave him a bunch of peanut butter bars and Snicker date bars and cookies, and I've been giving him some every day, and he's got a container. And I saw him carrying it around and eating his little bars last night, and I was just kind of laughing because he's enjoying all the cooking demos too. So it's getting toward the end, and I've got cooking demos planned for tomorrow and Monday, all into Monday night late. So I've never done this before. I'm going to be on here Monday night starting at 8 o'clock. and I'm going to stay on for a long time. Susie says, my husband's sad diet loves pistachios. I'll need to make these. Yeah, give them to him as a gift because pistachios are expensive. It's kind of like I would only buy them for a special occasion. I usually only make these during the holidays. Terry says, it's good to see you. It's good to see you doing the plant based, even though your spouse is not. That's encouraging to me. So his food doesn't tempt you. Do you cook for him or he cooks his own food? Um, he eats a lot of what I make, but not everything. But his food doesn't really tempt me. He has a freezer in the garage. We have a refrigerator in the garage, and there's a freezer, and he keeps all his, whatever non-plant based food in that freezer. And whenever he wants to make something that he doesn't like what I made, he'll go and get something out of his own freezer, and he doesn't mind, and he cooks it himself. He doesn't ask me to cook it. And every morning, he's out there. Come here, honey. Come here, Toshi. He's out there every morning and he's in the kitchen and he makes his own breakfast, toast with butter. And he makes himself a piece of, usually, like, he'll eat Morningstar Farm sausage, and then he'll make himself a scrambled egg in his little skillet. And no matter what, he does not want to try. He doesn't like oatmeal. He doesn't like plant-based breakfast food. Oh, hi, honey. He just isn't a big fan of it. So I've tried giving him different things. He'll eat pancakes, plant-based pancakes, and things like that, waffles. He likes my breakfast tacos, and there's things he'll eat, but every day for like weekdays, he wants to make his own breakfast. And, he's older than me, so I can't tell him what to do. Angie says, you've shared so many tips and tricks about food, appliances, cooking techniques. I've learned from every show of yours that I got to see. Thank you so much for all of this. Well, thank you, Angie. That's funny that you say that because I feel like I'm just in my kitchen cooking, like I would any day of the week. So to think that people find that helpful because they're learning something is nice to know. Terry says, I cook for my 95-year-old mom, and she won't eat plant-based. Well, she made it to 95, so maybe she doesn't need to. Are the walnut variation to the energy balls as popular as the pistachio ones? No, Sam, they're not. Uh, they are good, but pistachios are just good. They have a really good flavor. I want to go back to the previous question. Does my husband's food tempt me? You know what? I'll have to be honest with you and say that sometimes it does. Like, it doesn't make me want to eat it. Like, I never go make myself a scrambled egg. But if I'm hungry in the morning and he's cooking his scrambled eggs and butter and I can smell it cooking, it kind of smells really tempting. But I never go over there and say, well, make me one. I just kind of glance at it and think, I must be hungry because that smells good. And then I think, well, what am I going to eat for my breakfast? Terry said, Toshi is the sweetest. He'll be excited to meet his baby brother soon. Yes, one more week, a week from today, we're going to go pick up his little brother. And I think that'll be fun for him. Definitely will add a true little piece of joy to our home. And to know that puppy will bring, a smile to Toshi's life because Toshi's very lonely, being the only dog, and he can't snuggle. So what he's been doing is we have this bed. It's called a cozy cave, and it's a furry bed, and it has like a flap over the top, and the dog can crawl inside. And he gets inside that thing and covers himself up completely. It's like getting in the bed with under the covers. And that's what he does all the time. And that keeps him cozy, I guess. Even in the warm days, he does that. Okay, so let's see. Susie says, my husband tries what I make plant-based, but doesn't always like it. I know. That's how my husband is. Sometimes I'll make something I think is really good. And I'll say, here, try this. And he takes a bite of it. And here, I'm the chef, right? I make really good tasting food, I think. And he'll try a bite of my food and he'll say, it doesn't really taste like anything. Or, I don't know, it's kind of bland. And I'm thinking, it tastes wonderful. How could you say that? But, I can't change it. So I just press on And one thing that I've learned over these past almost 5 years is don't worry about what other people are doing. Just do what you need to do for yourself. Because look, I have three remaining children and four grandchildren. My two granddaughters are 24 and 21, and my children range in age from 47 to 34. None of them are plant based, even though they've seen everything I've done. They have looked at all my stuff. They come to my house and eat my food, but they're just not ready, willing, or want to go plant based. And I think of all the people I want to influence in this world, those are the people I want to influence the most, but they're not budging. So, what am I going to do? I just have to keep doing what I do, and I just don't let it worry me. When they come over a lot. They're not coming over this weekend, but usually on Sundays they'll come over and I'll make a meal. And it's kind of a collaboration. Like the older kids, they'll bring something to cook out on the grill, and I'll just make everything that I eat. I'll make, what I would eat, all the side dishes, salads, whatever. And they don't even notice that all those things are my plant-based foods. They think, oh, this is all delicious salad and potatoes and vegetables and noodles or whatever. And then they have their one, meat thing that they like. And then they eat that and they eat all the other stuff. But that's about the best I can do. I don't want to be the mom that says you can't come to my house if you're gonna not eat what I make, because I don't want to do anything to keep my kids from coming over. I don't see them enough as it is, so I don't want them to get the idea that they're not welcome here because they don't eat the same way I do. I figure that eventually they might come around, and if they don't, we'll just keep doing what we're doing. They take home all the leftovers, and remember, my husband still eats that food. So he'll keep a little bit for himself, and we'll send most of it home with the kids. And then I just keep doing what I'm doing. And I just, pray that one day maybe they'll change their minds. That so far it hasn't happened. And it's going on 5 years, so don't give up. You lead by example. Lynn says, you'll lead by example. They'll see how healthy and active you are. One day it might click with them. Lydia says, my husband is vegan. He eats Beyond Meat and other processed foods, but I'm happy he's vegan. Well, that's good. At least that's a start. And my husband will eat Boca burgers and Beyond burgers and stuff like that. Madonna says, your green chili waffles with cashew cream gravy and chili tofu chorizo is the best replacement for biscuits and sausage gravy. It's heavenly, and I can't believe your husband doesn't love it. Oh, he would love that. If I make that, he'll eat that up. He likes any kind of tofu crumbles, Italian, Tex-Mex, Chipotle. He likes the gravy. He loves the waffles. He would eat that. He just doesn't like oatmeal or everyday kind of stuff, steel cut oats, rolled oats, anything like that. So for every day, when he's making his own breakfast, he doesn't want any of my plant-based food. And it's not practical every day to make waffles and pancakes because he really doesn't even want to eat those every day. He'll eat them on Sundays or Saturdays and Sundays. Okay, so don't forget, if you haven't already gotten your bundle, told people about it, time is running out, and it's the best deal around. So get it and use whatever you can out of it. Download the whole thing. You have a year to download it, but it's not going to take you a year. You could just do it and then look at everything when you have time. I'm going to lose my voice before this is over. I can already tell. Okay, any last minute questions? And I'm going to put this in the refrigerator and let it kind of set up overnight and then try it again tomorrow. First, I'll take a picture of it. And I'm going to enjoy it. And then Monday night, I've saved. So Nutritionist says, thank you for sharing. You're welcome. On Monday night, I'm going to bring out, you would not believe, my refrigerator and freezer are full of stuff. So Monday night, I've got things that are in the freezer. I'm going to defrost them. I'm going to take out anything that's from the last few days that I didn't have to freeze. And I'm going to bring that out, and I'm going to sample everything. I'm going to just show it to you, sample it, so you can see everything we made through all these cooking demonstrations. It's going to be kind of crazy because that food is going to go. I can't keep it all here. So Terry says, thank you for your live videos. Get some rest. I definitely will. And I have a little bit of time before my next demo at 6 o'clock. My next live is at 6 o'clock today, 6 o'clock Central Time. It's in 2 hours, a little bit over 2 hours. And that is the pistachio energy balls. So I will see you back then. And thank you all for watching this video. And I do hope you make Shayda's jalapeno lime cream cheese from Shayda and Nutmeg Notebooks cream cheese and dips ebook in the vegan health bundle. It's a really good contribution. Thanks everybody. Bye bye.